Hi, I'm ESI's new Systems Administrator, Jessica, and what I've been up to is creating, or I guess you could say revamping or updating the network infrastructure here to make it easier to meet the ITAR and your regulations and standards. So, some things that we need to consider and anyone needs to consider when creating a new network is whether or not you want to have your server be local or if you want it to be over the cloud. And there's pros and cons to each one. Obviously, hosting your stuff on the cloud or having someone else host it for you is a lot cheaper than having your own local server. You don't have to worry about having server administrators. You don't have to worry about all those costs. But the thing with hosting on the cloud is that you don't actually have control of your own data. It's somewhere else. You can't directly access it, and you never know what might happen to a company overnight. Things do happen. I don't know any personally, but things can happen. And so those are some things to consider. Security is definitely a minus on that side. Some do say that the cloud services, they have more to lose, so their uptime might be better, but that's all under debate. So for the local server, it's more expensive, much more expensive, but it is more secure. You can have your own custom firewalls. You can have it, inside your own network. You don't need it to even have any outside, connections or anything. And but you do have to think about, the hard disks that you're going to use, the type of disk. They can get pretty pricey if you start using the SAS type that hot swappable and all that. And you have to think about what kind of operating systems you want to use. If you want your server to have RAID on it, if you want hardware RAID or software RAID, and it's a lot that goes into it. And you have to think about your processor and how to best secure it. How do you want your your employees to log in? So there's just a lot there that a lot of people may have difficulty with, and you definitely need someone who knows what they're doing with that. So that's just for the server, and then you have to think about your router, what kind of router you want. If you have a company that has a decent amount of people, you're going to want to upgrade to a business class router. They are pretty expensive, but they come with a lot of great features, especially those integrated routers. Well, not quite new, but there's some great business class integrated routers. Have a lot in there, built-in firewalls, all these things in there. And you can use one of those, and you can also get great redundancy with these routers where one line goes down, you can just move traffic onto another one, so there's no downtime. You also want to think about the business class routers having better processors, more RAM, which is important if there's a large load going over your network. And but not everyone can afford those routers, so an alternative could be to build your own out of an old computer. Something to consider, some great open source, or you can buy some good firmwares and different firewalls and things like that you can put on your own router. You also might consider how you want to set up the network in itself. If you want to segment users off into groups and have different virtual LANs, so you need to make sure that your router can handle virtual LANs. Most of them will say how many, if at all. You want to think about whether or not you want people to be able to access your network from outside the workplace. So VPN tunneling or creating a SSH server is something you might want to think about. And also you could create a demilitarization network, demilitarization zone on your network. So just put more safeguards between the outside world and your server or your users, whatever you're trying to keep safe. So aside from that, you might want to think about encrypting what's going over your network, or encrypting the emails going out, and there's a lot of different things you can use for that as well. Great software for that, open source and not open source. So that is what I've been doing here, just checking out those things and just trying to incorporate them here.